Before the continents took shape, before the first tree grew, before anything remotely human walked the earth, there was only ocean. Not the ocean we know today, not the world of dolphins and coral reefs and gentle waves lapping its sandy shores. No, the ancient ocean was something else entirely. A cauldron of alien life, a battlefield where evolution was writing its first brutal chapters, a realm where creatures existed that would make today's deep-sea monsters look tame by comparison. This is the story of Earth's first oceans and the nightmare creatures that ruled them. Four and a half billion years ago, Earth was a hellscape. Molten rock, volcanic eruptions that never ceased, an atmosphere of methane and ammonia, toxic to anything we would recognize as life. And then came the water. Asteroids and comets, frozen messengers from the outer solar system, bombarded our planet for millions of years. Each impact delivered precious cargo, water locked in ice. Over eons, these collisions filled the basins between cooling rock. The first ocean formed, not in a moment, but across millions of cosmic violence. By 3.8 billion years ago, Earth had cooled enough for liquid water to remain stable on its surface. The ocean covered almost everything. There were no continents as we know them, only scattered volcanic islands puncturing an endless sea. And this ocean was nothing like ours. The water was hot, sometimes near boiling near volcanic vents. The atmosphere above held almost no oxygen, just nitrogen, carbon dioxide, and methane. The sky would have been orange or reddish, not blue. Ultraviolet radiation from the sun battered the surface with deadly intensity because there was no ozone layer to shield it. To us, this world would mean instant death. To life, it was paradise waiting to be claimed. Before we get to living creatures, we need to talk about something stranger, the borderland between chemistry and biology, the realm of self-replicating molecules. Somewhere in these primordial oceans, perhaps near hydrothermal vents where superheated water met freezing depths, something extraordinary happened. Organic molecules, amino acids, nucleotides, lipids began forming spontaneously. Lightning strikes, volcanic heat, and chemical reactions in the ocean itself created the building blocks of life. At some point, these molecules learned to copy themselves. Not intentionally, there was no consciousness, no plan, just chemistry following the laws of physics. But once a molecule could replicate, evolution had begun. These weren't creatures in any meaningful sense. They were molecular machines. RNA strands that could duplicate themselves, competing for raw materials in the ancient ocean. The winners multiplied, the losers vanished. Natural selection was operating before life itself truly existed. This was the RNA world, a hypothesis supported by decades of research, a time when RNA, not DNA, was the primary carrier of genetic information. These early replicators were fragile, error-prone, and simple beyond imagining, but they were the foundation of everything that followed. Somewhere between 3.8 and 3.5 billion years ago, these replicating molecules acquired something revolutionary, a membrane, a boundary between inside and outside, the first cell. These were prokaryotes, single-celled organisms without a nucleus. Simple, yes, but also resilient beyond anything alive today. They were extremophiles, thriving in conditions that would destroy modern life instantly. Some lived in water so acidic it would dissolve metal. Others flourished in temperatures above boiling. Many survived without oxygen. In fact, oxygen was poison to them. These bacteria don't sound like nightmares. They were microscopic, invisible to any eye. But consider what they were doing. They were rewriting the planet's chemistry. They were terraforming Earth. Cyanobacteria emerged perhaps 3.5 billion years ago. These organisms invented photosynthesis, using sunlight to convert carbon dioxide and water into sugar and oxygen. To them, oxygen was just waste, but this waste product would change everything. For hundreds of millions of years, oxygen bubbled into the ocean and immediately reacted with dissolved iron, creating rust that settled to the seafloor in vast bands. We can still see these banded iron formations today, geological scars from Earth's first biological catastrophe. But eventually, around 2.4 billion years ago, the iron ran out. Oxygen began accumulating in the atmosphere. This event is called the Great Oxidation Event, and it was one of the worst mass extinctions in Earth's history. To the anaerobic organisms that dominated the ocean, oxygen was lethal. It destroyed their cellular machinery, tore apart their molecules. Entire lineages went extinct. The ocean became a killing field. But crisis breeds opportunity. The organisms that could tolerate oxygen, or better yet, use it, inherited the Earth. Around 2 billion years ago, something unprecedented occurred. One prokaryote engulfed another, but instead of digesting it, the two formed a partnership. The engulfed bacterium became a mitochondrion, an organelle that could use oxygen to produce enormous amounts of energy. This was the birth of eukaryotic cells, cells with a nucleus and complex internal structures. Us. Every plant, animal, and fungus on Earth is built from eukaryotic cells. This merger was one of the most important events in the history of life. For another billion years, these eukaryotes remained single-celled, but they were experimenting. Some formed colonies. Others developed specialized structures. The ocean was filling with microscopic diversity we can barely comprehend. And then, around 800 million years ago, something changed. Cells started sticking together, not temporarily, like a colony, but permanently. They began specializing, some for feeding, some for reproduction, some for movement. Multicellular life had arrived. Between 635 and 541 million years ago, the Ediacaran period saw Earth's first large, complex organisms, and they were bizarre beyond imagination. Picture a seafloor carpeted with creatures that look like nothing alive today. Quilted mattresses, fronds anchored to the sediment, waving in currents. Disc-shaped organisms like pancakes pressed into the mud. Strange, segmented forms that might have been animals, might have been fungi, might have been something else entirely. These are the Ediacarans, and scientists still debate what most of them were. Dickinsonia could grow over a meter long, a flat oval with repeating segments running down its body. It had no head, no mouth we can identify, no obvious organs. It may have absorbed nutrients through its skin or harbored photosynthetic symbionts. We honestly don't know.
Cambrian left fossil trails showing it could move, scraping algae from the seafloor with something resembling a foot. It may have been an early mollusk, making it one of our distant ancestors. Charnia looked like a fern, but lived in total darkness on the deep ocean floor. It couldn't photosynthesize, so what was it doing with that shape? Maybe filter feeding? Maybe something we can't imagine. The Ediacarans lived in a world without predators. There were no mouths designed for killing, no claws, no teeth. This was the Garden of Ediacara, strange, alien, but peaceful. That peace wouldn't last. 541 million years ago, something shattered the calm. In a geological instant, just 10 to 25 million years, nearly every major animal group alive today appeared in the fossil record. This is the Cambrian explosion, and it transformed the ocean into an arms race. Suddenly, fossils show eyes, claws, teeth, shells. Predation had been invented, and with it, the need to defend yourself or die. The creatures that emerged were nightmares made flesh. Anomalocaris was the first apex predator we know of, reaching over a meter in length, enormous for the time. It cruised through Cambrian seas with compound eyes containing over 16,000 lenses, more than a modern dragonfly. Its mouth was a circular ring of plates that could crush and slice. Its front appendages were lined with spines for grasping prey. Trilobites and other early animals had no defense against it. Abapenia was smaller, but no less strange. 5 eyes on stalks, a long, flexible proboscis with a grasping claw at the end. Scientists initially thought the first fossil reconstruction was a joke, but Abapenia was real, plucking victims from the seafloor and delivering them to a mouth on the underside of its head. Hallucigenia earned its name by baffling scientists for decades. It had pairs of spines along its back and fleshy limbs underneath. Or was it the other way around? Early reconstructions showed it upside down and backwards. Even now, we're not entirely sure what it was doing. It walked on those strange limbs across the ocean floor, possibly feeding on sponges. Wiwaxia was covered in scales and defensive spines, looking like a spiky slug wearing chainmail. This was the Cambrian solution to predation. If you couldn't fight back, make yourself as unappetizing as possible. Then there was Pikaia, unremarkable at first glance, a small worm-like creature with a notochord, a primitive backbone. This humble animal may be one of our earliest ancestors, the beginning of the line that would lead to fish, amphibians, reptiles, and eventually humans. But the true terrors of the Cambrian were still evolving. As the period progressed, predators grew larger, faster, more sophisticated. The early arthropods, ancestors of insects, crustaceans, and spiders, were experimenting with body plans that would prove devastatingly effective. Segmented bodies, jointed limbs, hardened exoskeletons, compound eyes. By the Ordovician period, 485 million years ago, these experiments had produced eurypterids, sea scorpions. Some species grew over 2 meters long. They had crushing claws, stabbing tails, and swimming paddles that made them frighteningly fast. They ruled the coastal waters, hunting fish and whatever else they could catch. And then came the cephalopods. Today, we know them as octopuses and squid, intelligent, adaptable, occasionally terrifying, but their ancestors were something else entirely. Camarasaurus, an orthocone nautiloid, grew up to 6 meters long. Imagine a straight cone the length of a car with tentacles at one end and a streamlined shell protecting its body. These creatures were the apex predators of Ordovician seas, hunting with precision and intelligence we're only beginning to appreciate in modern cephalopods. The ocean was no longer a place of strange, peaceful fronds. It was a killing field. Evolution had discovered violence, and there was no going back. The Silurian and Devonian periods, between 440 and 360 million years ago, saw predators reach sizes that dwarf anything in modern oceans. Jacalopterus, another eurypterid, reached 2.5 meters in length. Its claws could crack shells. Its body was streamlined for pursuit. Recent studies suggest some sea scorpions may have ventured onto land, making them among the first animals to do so. But the true nightmare of this era was Dunkleosteus. This wasn't a eurypterid or a cephalopod. This was a placoderm, an armored fish, and it was apocalyptic. Dunkleosteus grew up to 10 meters long and weighed 4 tons. Its head and thorax were encased in thick, bony plates that could withstand incredible force. Instead of teeth, it had blade-like bony ridges that self-sharpened as it fed. Bite force estimates suggest Dunkleosteus could exert 5,000 to 11,000 newtons of pressure, comparable to a modern alligator or hyena.
It could open its jaws in 1/50th of a second, creating powerful suction that pulled prey into those crushing plates. Nothing was safe from Dunkleosteus. It ate large fish, sharks, other placoderms. Fossil evidence shows it sometimes ate its own kind, and it suffered from indigestion. Many fossils are found with regurgitated remains nearby, suggesting it would vomit up the hard, indigestible parts of its prey before hunting again. This was the ocean at its most brutal, a hierarchy of nightmares, each feeding on the one below. 252 million years ago, Earth experienced the worst catastrophe in its history, the Permian-Triassic extinction event, the Great Dying. Massive volcanic eruptions in what is now Siberia released gigatons of carbon dioxide, methane, and toxic gases into the atmosphere. Global temperatures soared, ocean currents collapsed, the seas became oxygen-starved and acidic.
Ancient oceans were ruled by monsters because evolution rewards efficiency, not kindness. With abundant resources and no rules, life grew strange and massive. Predation turned survival into an arms race, bigger, faster, deadlier. Yet dominance always ends. Every ocean ruler fell. We exist because adaptation outlasted terror.